I'm Soriana. Hey guys, so I am back in Monterrey right now, and with Miss Soriana. We actually came back for two reasons. First is because Ceni, the gray cat that was living with my three dogs in the street when I adopted them back in October, she got lost in La Huasteca, which was our first stop when we left the park here in Monterrey. I contacted the people where I was camping and I followed up with them, and there was no sign of her. So I honestly didn't know what happened to her. That was 2 months ago. I felt terrible. I felt like a really irresponsible owner, but basically what had happened was the very first night that we arrived to La Huasteca, Ceni sneaked out of the van as soon as I was getting out of the van when we arrived. And the dogs, so my dogs and the dogs of the people whose place I was camping at, chased her up into a tree. So that was all fine and good. Before I went to bed that night, I went to the tree where she had been hanging out, and I tried to grab her and bring her back in the van, and she didn't want to be lifted out of the tree. I tried a couple of times and she didn't want, so I was like, okay, well, it is what it is. And the next morning, she was nowhere to be found. I checked all the possible hiding places where I thought she might have gone, the different trees, and the same thing happened with my other two cats, but they were waiting on top of the van for me on the roof. Ever since then, usually I will leave the window down for them if they're out and about, and then they'll come back in. But in that case, I stayed for a couple of nights, and I looked all around the property, and I showed pictures of her, and nothing. I got a message when we were in Tamasopo, in San Luis Potosí, that she had been found, and I couldn't believe it. And she recognized her veterinarian friend, so that was really nice. That was really good for me to hear, and I knew they would take good care of her, and they know that she's an escape artist, so they made super sure she wasn't going to be able to escape from her cage at the vet. And she was eating well, but she was real thin and just real sluggish. So they kept her for a couple of days for me until I was able to come back here to Monterrey. So I got back on a Sunday, and it was great news because I was actually expecting to pick her up on Monday because I got back after the veterinarian closed on Sunday. So, you know, it is what it is. I knew I wasn't going to make it by 2 p.m. because it was a long drive. And it so happened that while I was waiting outside in front of the apartment to get the key from the landlord to get into the apartment, one of the owners of the veterinary clinic, so the wife is the veterinarian, and her husband, who helps her run the veterinary clinic, was pulling up to do like the afternoon check on the animals and stuff. And like exactly at the time that I was waiting out front. So I said, oh, hey, to him, because, you know, we're friends. And he said, oh, do you want to come and get your cat? And I was like, yes. So I went and got her, and I was just holding her, and she was purring, and I was so happy to see her. She was so happy to see me. It was so good to have her back. Ceni, how do you feel to be back with your family? You have any comments? Oh yeah? Looks like her and Chantika have actually been bonding, so that's been really nice. And then Miss Sori here had to get surgery, was it last week or the week before? I think 2 weeks ago. But Sori looks better than ever. She's got tons of energy. She's eating well. Her wound is looking really good. She just got her stitches out yesterday. So that's been really good. She is doing well, and she will actually be available for adoption in probably a little over a month at the soonest. I'm not sure exactly when I'm coming back to the US, but she is such a good girl. She is. Look at this little face. Oh, yes. Tell everyone how sweet you are. I'm just a sweetie girl. To be pet, if you're sitting down, she'll just come over and put her little paw on you. Just like that. Yes, are you putting your paw on me? Well, there you are. And she's just super sweet. She gets on great with the dogs. She gets on great with the cats. She respects them totally. She doesn't bother them at all. And yes, look at this little face. She just wants someone to love her. But she does have some separation anxiety. I think she might have been abandoned in front of the supermarket where I found her. She has separation anxiety when I go out. She claws at the door and she barks for the first couple of minutes. She's house trained, and like I said, she gets on great with other dogs. She's so adorable. She loves to play. She will go and get her toys. and just like thrash them around and, you know, roll on her back. She just loves it. And look at this little smile. She is so, so sweet. So I might be coming to the US maybe at the end of June. I'm not sure yet. It looks like I'm going to be going to Guatemala in the end of May and early June. And then I'll probably have some errands and things to take care of here in Monterrey before I head up to the US for the summer. Yeah, that's kind of an update on where we are at now. So honestly, when I'm here in Monterrey, there's not a whole lot to show because I have a pretty similar routine. Basically, you know, during the week, I take the dogs for a walk, clean the house, work, feed myself. I started working out last week again, so there's not too much to show. And then on the weekends, I usually just do like chores and errands. So go to the store and buy the stuff I need to buy, you know, clean up the house, clean up the van. I mean, I'm not like doing a whole lot of adventuring or anything. I'm really looking forward to getting back into the van. It is nice to be able to come to the city and take care of errands that I need to do, like laundry, dog baths, nail trims, some shopping, you know, for like specialty items. Yeah, but I'm really looking forward to hitting the road. Honestly, it's quite stressful being back in the city. The temperatures have been really hot here. This apartment doesn't have air conditioning. The landlords lent me some fans, so that was really nice. Oh my goodness. But it was 107 degrees yesterday. Even with the fans, it was insanely hot in here. I mean, certainly cooler than it would have been like in the van or camping, but just really freaking hot. I think it was 80 something degrees last night. Basically, to sleep at night, I take my bed sheet, I completely soak it in cold water, and then I wrap myself in it. That's the only way I can fall asleep because it's so insanely hot. And sometimes in the middle of the night I have to wake up and do it again because after like an hour or two, it's like dry. It's completely dry. I'm looking forward to hitting the roads. Gonna head to some sand dunes hopefully next weekend, but I have to take my van to the mechanic this week. I think I need to have the power steering system replaced, and that could be pretty pricey. So cross your fingers, everything works out. We're able to hit the road next week in terms of timing and budget and stuff like that. But that's the good thing about, you know, just having a flexible timeline is that if we have to stay here longer, we can. Great, sorry. Anyway, that's kind of where things are at now. I think I'm gonna try to share a little bit more insight, not just my adventures, but a little bit more insight into like how things work or why I got into this. So I did want to also just talk briefly about why I decided to get into van life. I don't think I've ever mentioned, maybe, I don't, who knows, maybe I have mentioned this before. I have wanted to live nomadically in a vehicle for many years. Probably, I would say the idea probably first occurred to me around 2015, so that was 6 years ago. And I've considered lots of different possibilities, like maybe like a travel trailer, or like, you know, a small RV, or, you know, lots of different things. I even lived in my Honda Civic for a little while back in 2018, and that was great. I loved it. So yeah, so really, I guess the main reason that I want to live in a vehicle is the freedom that it allows me. So I love just being able to say, oh, where am I going to go next week? Or like, oh, I changed my mind, like because of the weather, or because of this or that, like I'm going to go somewhere else. And being able to do that and not being like, okay, well, I would like to, but I have to, you know, like, okay, well, I'm paying the rent at this place, and so, you know, I can only get away with blah, 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 and I don't know. It's really nice for me just having that flexibility and being able to go where I want to go, when I want to go, change plans a lot, and just kind of just have so many possibilities as like directions that my life and my travels could go. I love seeing new places and meeting new people and trying new things. I love hiking, and look at this beautiful girl. I love being outside with my animals. I mean, there are a lot of ways that can look, right? Like that doesn't necessarily mean you have to live in a van. But for me, it's a cost-effective way to travel the world with my pets and yeah, have adventures, see new places, and just have that freedom. So that's kind of what attracted me to van life. I imagine that probably some people that are watching these YouTube videos are not living in a vehicle, and probably most are not living in a vehicle because it's a somewhat unusual lifestyle, although it is gaining popularity. So if you guys have any questions that you'd like me to answer, feel free to drop them in the comments, and I'll either respond to you, or if there's something that needs a lot more explaining, then I can do another video on it. I know there's going to be a lot of questions around money, like how do I make money, how much does it cost to live in a van, monthly budget, stuff like that. I'm going to be making a video on that very soon, so stay tuned. Hey friends, thanks so much for watching this video. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.